Shalom to you, like giving all praise and honor, glory to you. How about Shem Shai, Bishop Kakadosh, and giving double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops, the great millstone, who well, peace and salutation to elect. Shem Amapa. My name is Amapa from the Great Millstone Plaintables Camp of Philadelphia. Come with another week lesson. This is in response to my prior lesson, and which was covering the event or harag, all right, which is saying to kill in Hebrew, and the Lashma Kodash, or Holy Tongue, of Irina Zarutska, all right. Now you have it, that occurred August the 22nd, 2025, all right, hopeful year of the destruction of Esau, Edom, and the deliverance of Jacob, Israel, starting with the elect. Alright, which only the elect on this side is going to be delivered. 2/3 are going to get cut off and, of course, have various forms of judgment in Mawathium, or death, and Babylon the Great, America. Alright, will be mass judgment and such going about. But the main place of judgment is here in America. And we're seeing also the heathen. If she is an Israelite, she could be an Israelite. She could not be an Israelite, but she was chosen for the Lord's judgment. All right, where it's had a Jake, she on a escaping or seeking asylum within this country from the war that's over there in Ukraine, and her being of that origin, nationalities wise, Ukrainian refugee, fled her country because of the Russian invasion. She was fatally stabbed. So we can see the effects of what happens when Esau, Edom wages war, in the earth. All right, the Edomites, the Russians are Edomites, okay, and you have it, and they're at war, all right, with Ukraine, which they're, of course, again, Edomites, same people and such. Formerly, you had it. Ukraine was part of the USSR and such, but you had that, breaking apart of the Russian Federation, and you have that, there's allies of America, with Ukraine. All right, and that has, because of the expansion of NATO and such, being in that territory and such, and other reasons, you have it that Russia is definitely angry. All right. And like I said, displaced many people. So this 23-year-old born in Kiev, she came over here with her family in 2022, and she's over here and settled in Charlotte. And then you have it where, as they gonna say, this 34-year-old suspect, which is a fair jumping at the time, killing, right? Previously arrested for multiple times for robbery, dangerous weapon, breaking, entering, larceny. Have a rap sheet. But these people are walking around in these cities, all right? And if we even look to, I want to look at something real quick. And Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to see if it's a Democrat state. Okay, you have it that apparently it's not, but you got, of course, Democrats. Okay. Why? These are different statistics. Like I said, you can check up onto it if I'm wrong about it, but North Carolina is politically dominated by Democrat and Republican parties, but you have to look, 2024, they got mainly majority. It's basically look like it's close, but more Republican than Democrat. When you go into the numbers. But you had this has happened. Now, when we go into it, like I said, what we want to do, we want to go to what it has affected. All right, what's the effect? Okay, and note it said fair jumping. Okay, and a lot of people that are going and traveling on these public transport, they see you as a criminal. Obviously, if you are fair jumping, you're not paying your fare and you're entering, their transit system. Okay, and you use tactics to evade fare. They do see you as a criminal. All right, so it says we have to respond. We have to be vicious. Trump responds after Charlotte subway stabbing. All right, which Trump, he released a brief video expressing his thoughts on the attack, and he has also said we have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious, just like they are. Who is they? Talking about the criminals. These wicked Jake. All right, 2/3 Jake. Okay, they call it, of course, Jake savages and such. And this again is just the curses falling upon the Israelites. Okay, but you have been criminalized and have always been criminalized by the enemy Esau Edom, who claims to be white. All right, that's why they do call you black and other different bywords and such. Okay, because they see you as everything negative and a problem and not to be trusted. And we have these bywords placed upon us. All right, so this is one of the curses, which is stand for a distinguishing mark between who the actual Israelites are. All right, on earth, it says, "And thou shalt become astonishment, a proverb and a byword." And this is Deuteronomy 28:37, by the way. "Among all nations where the Lord Yahweh shall drive or lead thee." Okay, so a byword, you're giving these mocking, these taunts. They tell them, they saying you vicious. They just don't look at a Jake and say Israelite and just say he vicious. All right. You look up to the word vicious. You look into it. It says mean to morally habitually transgress moral law of a text, or corrupt. All right. Of wicked, cunning, and underhand, defective, illegal. All right, faulty, full of faults, defective, corrupt, wicked, depraved. All right, from victim, which is mean fault. All right, from vice, like people have vices. That's a moral fault or weakness. Many people might fall for their vices. They might be drugs, etc. All right, so this is really what they're saying about Jake. That they're wicked, cunning, and underhand, and corrupt, erroneously corrupt. All right, addicted to immorality, habitually transgressing moral law. All right, and we have it Esau Edom, who this dude transgressed all the laws. He's the one saying that. All right, so this is Job chapter 30:9. It says, "And now am I their song." All right, yeah, you're the talk of the town. All right, everything that they're speaking about. It says, "I am their byword." Okay, yeah, for the Edomites. Okay, the scripture talk about how they are children of fools. Yeah, children of base men. They are violent in the earth. Being in that state. Being in that lower state in which they come from. All right, being driven forth from men. Living in the worst of living conditions, in Petra and Mount Seir, Petra. These Edomites are wicked. All right, are the wicked. But you are now their byword. Okay, they abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face. Yeah, look at how they are spitting in your face, which is a very ultimate form of disrespect. Spit. All right, and that's rach in Hebrew. All right, abhor. They see, you, they like, loathe you. Okay. Just look at the rhetoric from Trump. Okay.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people.
There you go. Savage, bloodthirsty criminals. Okay. Savage, bloodthirsty criminals. All right. So that's what they look at you Israelites as. All right.
Really, very, very innocent people. In every place.
White people. Okay. Claiming, because the person being from Ukraine, all right, on the out exterior or skin, being really red out of Guam, but they have given themselves in 1681 that Virginia, that classification of being white. Okay.
They control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman. A beautiful young girl that never had problems in life.
Yeah, because most likely is an Edomite. All right, but then when she came to America, okay, you have been met with American justice in a sense, right? This American justice, because the American, really, this justice system allows it, as I'm gonna put it, with the so-called Democrat way, they have allowed, a lot of criminals out to freely roam. All right, to give these guys chances where they wouldn't have the chance. Okay, so they have a failed justice system, and this is a woman who, like I said, her life is, she never had problems, and that's the way of the of the Edomite. Okay, the Edomites, they don't have problems. Okay, really speaking, at first, like the very elite, right, banking families. It says here. This is Psalms chapter 73:3. It says, "For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked being the Edomites." All right. "For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm." Okay, you see how these Edomites can go about, and do and be who they want to be. Okay, just them being who they are grants them privileges. All right. "They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men." Don't you see that Jake is already plagued? He's already the guy, or stricken, as the Lord already have him in captivity for his disobedience, and he put other curses such as you going to smit with madness. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28:28. This is another distinguishing mark of the Israelites. "The Lord Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart." Okay, you see that man is literally out of his mind, crazy. Okay, he just went out of nowhere and just stabbed the chick in her neck, and that was it. And he changed his clothes and walked off like it was nothing. All right, I've been around spirits of vengeance. Okay, I've been on a public transport with a man literally pull out a golden blade, and he just like got it in his hand, and he's just like kind of like in a sense playing with it. But the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shah didn't choose for the man to be the executor for me. Okay, so you have to think, who chose? What's the difference between me and him? It's all the Lord's, of course, judgment, and he's known by the judgment he execute. It's what, like as the scriptures say, man's goings. All right, man's goings are of the Lord. Okay, that girl was chosen to go where on that train. That man was chosen to go on the train to sit behind her and to do what he did. This is Proverbs 20 and 24. There's no free will. It says, man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Okay, because it's all sanctioned by the Lord. The Lord made it. Okay. Proverbs 5 and 21. For the ways of man are before the eyes of Yahweh, the angels, and he pondereth all his goings. And the Lord God, of course, the angels watching, these things go down, and got a record. All right. So we're going to go back to Donald Trump.
Problems in life. Never had problems in life.
You see the split difference. Jake, problem. Non-problem, E, as what he's portraying.
With a magnificent future in this country.
Based on what he has as the wicked, they want to continue forth. But as the scriptures say, why is earth and ashes proud? Okay. I gotta get that one. It's a scripture I'm trying to think of. Which that man is, they're just boasting, his mind. The scriptures say that they in Psalms 49. Brother, get that precept if they want. On the comment board, put it. It says how 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. That's the Edomites. All right, this is the dwelling Americans. They dwelling for the Edomites. They came, of course, and conquered the Native Americans, all right, which are Israelites. All right, conquered the Aboriginal tribes of this place, the Israelites, and put it to themselves to own. All right. It says, in their dwelling places to all generations. They called their lands after their own names. Okay, America named after another Edomite, being Americo, Margo, Vespucci. And America means bitter. All right. In the Hebrew, if you want to go, is marar or mar. All right, but you go Margo, Margo, yeah. Pardon me. And you'll have it that this place is that bitter place. All right. So, we're gonna continue forth and pardon the noise in this dwelling.
And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster.
Okay, there you go, you Jacob called monsters.
Who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests.
Democratic.
We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country.
That's George Soros initiative.
We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help.
So that's that. Pardon me one sec. I'm going to take this off. So, you know, that's what we're dealing with. Okay. Jake, like I said, I'm not saying Jake are not criminals out there, but, you know, these bywords have been attached to them, and these agendas have been put and been implemented. You know, they allowed Jake to go out there and be criminals and go roam free. Of course, they're gonna go and do more worse things. So, hey, we see what it is. Shalom to the elect. To the next lesson.